Hi guys, it's Zoe with Student Life, and I'm here to talk to you about what it's like having ADHD at university and how I stay productive. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder, and it can be hard to maintain whilst at university. With readings, tests, and assessments, there can be a lot to handle. So here are some tips that I've implemented into my life that help me stay on top of everything. Tip number 1, switch it up. Sometimes switching up where you study and how you study can be really beneficial to motivating you to continue. Sometimes I move from sitting at my desk to sitting at my bed. Sometimes I go to the library. Having different spaces and different plans on how I want to study on different days can mean that I get more engaged in what I'm supposed to be doing. And also, it keeps my dopamine levels pretty high instead of me getting distracted by things around me. Tip number 2, try and start earlier than you feel like you need to. A lot of us with ADHD have this complex where we feel like we can do things a lot closer to the deadline that we should. This can mean that we end up being burnt out and overwhelmed with the workload, especially if it's something harder than we thought it was. Starting a little bit earlier than you feel like you need to means that you have plenty of time in case there are errors or mistakes or something that you don't understand. Tip number 3 is to shadow. This means studying with a friend or someone from your class or in a study environment like the library. This can help our brains because it gives us the idea that we should be studying. This helps us by motivating us to continue to study, especially for longer than we would if we were alone. However, for some of us, this doesn't last very long, as we can get distracted by those around us. Tip number 4 is to use the Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique is when you set a 25-minute timer in which you focus on a specific task. This means not checking your phone, your email, or moving on to a different task. Once those 25 minutes are up, you get a 5-minute break in which you can do any of those things that you plan to do during that 25 minutes, other than the specific task. After that, you can start another 25-minute timer, either moving on to a different task or remaining on that one task. This is helpful because it keeps your brain occupied in those 25 minutes rather than forcing yourself to focus for long periods of time. Another reason why I like the Pomodoro method is because you can customize it to you. I personally use a version called the Pomodoro Technique, which means I study for 50 minutes and then I take a 25-minute break. In those 25 minutes, I watch an episode of an anime I've been thinking about. And then, after that, I spend another 50 minutes working. At the end of every cycle, you get a long break, which can be either the span that you would have been studying or triple that, depending on your mind and what you would like to do. I hope these tips were helpful for you. And if you have any other tips that can help other people with ADHD and those without, please drop them in the comments. I'd love to look at them and also implement them into my study technique because I'm always looking for something new. Thank you so much for watching and tune in for our next video. Bye!